Hi there, it's Eugen. I'm a quality architect and ISTQB expert level test manager and founder of ISTQB.com along with a few other free fancy products for testers. In this video, we'll walk through the real ISTQB questions together, but the goal is not just to memorize the correct answers or pass the exam. We'll look at how to read the question, identify the important words, spot misleading options, and understand the testing logic behind the answers, because a good tester should not only know what is correct, but also understand why we do things in this way. Today's topic is what is testing. Let's start with the first question. Which of the following is a typical test objective? Let's start with the key phrase, typical test objective. So we're looking for a real reason why testing is performed, not something useful in a project, not something testers may help with, a real test objective. So option A, building confidence in the quality of the test object. This is a strong answer. Testing gives stakeholders evidence, maybe important tasks passed, risks were reduced, and the team has better information about the quality level. That is exactly how testing can build confidence, so A looks good. Option B, maintaining effective communications with developers. Good communication is important, absolutely. A tester who communicates badly can create a lot of unnecessary friction. Bad communication is not a test object by itself. It supports testing, but it's not the reason we test. So B is out. Option C, validating the legal requirements have been met. This one is sneaky. Legal requirements are usually documented, so they may come from laws, contracts, regulations, or compliance rules. When we check whether specified requirements have been fulfilled, the ISTQB word is verification. Validation is different. Validation asks, does this meet user needs and stakeholders' expectations in the real environment? So the topic sounds serious, but the wording is wrong, so C is out. Option D, finding and fixing defects in the test object. This is a classic exam trap. Finding defects, yes, that can be a test objective. Fixing defects, no, that is debugging. Testing may reveal the problem, but testing does not remove the defect. So D mixes testing and debugging, and that makes it wrong. The correct answer is A, building confidence in the quality of a test object. So testing can find defects, reduce risk, provide information, and build confidence. But when an option says finding and fixing defects, be careful. Fixing belongs to debugging, not testing. Question number 2. Which of the following statements describe a valid test objective? The question is really about dangerous words. The key phrase is valid test objective. So we need an objective that testing can realistically achieve. Option A, to reduce the risk level of the test object and to build confidence in the quality level. This is reasonable. Testing does not make risk disappear, but it can reduce risk. It can also give stakeholders more confidence because they have evidence from test results. So A is a strong candidate. Option B, to prove that there will be no failures after implementation into production. The danger word here is proof. Testing cannot prove that there will be no failures in production. Production has real users, real data, real environments, and combinations we may never have tested. So B is too absolute. Option C, to prove that there are no unfixed defects in the system under test. Again, we have proof. Testing can show that defects exist. It can prove that defects remain. Even if all tests pass, there may still be hidden defects. So C is out. Option D, to verify that there are no untested combinations of input. That sounds technical, but it's also unrealistic. For most systems, testing all combinations of inputs is impossible. That is the principle of exhaustive testing. Except in very simple cases, you cannot test everything. So D is out. The correct answer is A, to reduce the risk level of a test object and to build confidence in the quality level. Exam rule: watch for absolute promises like proof, no failures, no defects, all combinations, and so on. ISTQB usually expects a realistic answer, like testing reduce risk and prove evidence, but it doesn't guarantee perfection. Question number 3. Which of the following is a typical test objective? This is a very good exam question because all the wrong answers use words that sound familiar. Let's go carefully. Option A, causing failures and identifying defects. This is a typical test objective, especially in dynamic testing. In dynamic testing, we execute the software. If there is a defect, execution may trigger a failure. That failure gives us evidence that something is wrong. So A looks good. Option B, validating that documented requirements are met. This is close, but the word is wrong. Documented requirements are specified requirements. Checking specified requirements is verification. Validation is about user needs, stakeholders' expectations, and intended use. So if these options said verifying that documented requirements are met, it would be much better. But it says validating, so B is out. Option C, integrating errors and identifying root causes. This has two problems. First, testers do not initiate errors. An error is a human mistake, usually made by someone during analysis, design, coding, or another activity. Second, identifying root causes is usually related to analysis and debugging, not the basic objective of testing. Testing may reveal defects or failures, but it doesn't mean testers are creating human mistakes, so C is out. Option D, verifying the test object meets user expectations. Again, the concept is close, but the word is wrong. User expectations belong to validation. Verification checks specified requirements. So this option has the same kind of trap as option B, just in the opposite direction. The correct answer is A, causing failures and identifying defects. So exam rule: verification checks specified requirements. Validation checks user needs and expectations. And in dynamic testing, executing software may cause failures that help reveal defects. Question number 4. How does testing trigger failures and find defects differently? The key distinction here is dynamic testing versus static testing. Dynamic testing means we execute the software. Static testing means we examine work products without executing the software. For example, we review requirements, user stories, design, code, or other documents. Option A. Neither dynamic or static testing can find defects. No, this is clearly wrong. Testing can find defects. Static testing can find them directly, and dynamic testing can reveal them through failures. So A is out. Option B. Static testing triggers failures while dynamic testing finds defects. This reverses the logic. Static testing does not execute the software, so it cannot trigger a runtime failure. There is no running system to fail, so B is out. Option C. Both dynamic and static testing trigger failures in the same way. Again, no. Only dynamic testing executes the software. Static testing may find a defect in a requirement, in a code, or in a design, but it does not produce a failure during execution. So C is out. Option D. Dynamic testing triggers failure caused by defects, while static testing directly finds defects. This is exactly the distinction. With dynamic testing, when run the software, a defect may cause a visible failure. With static testing, we inspect the work product itself and may find the defect directly before execution. So correct answer is D. Here is exam rule. Dynamic testing executes software and may trigger failures. Static testing does not execute software and can't find defects directly. Question number 5. Which of the following statements best describes the difference between testing and debugging? This question asks for the best description, so we need the cleanest ISTQB distinction. Option A. Testing determines that defects exist while debugging removes defects. This is a strong answer. Testing can determine that something is wrong. In static testing, we may find defects directly. In dynamic testing, we may trigger a failure that points to a defect. Debugging is different. Debugging is about finding the defects behind a failure, analyzing it, and fixing it. So A looks very good. Option B. Testing causes failures while debugging fixes failures. This is tempting, but the wording is not accurate. Dynamic testing can trigger failures, yes, but debugging does not really fix failures. A failure is the visible problem during execution. Debugging fixes the defect that caused the failure. So B is close in everyday language, but not precise enough for the exam. Option C. Testing finds the cause of defects, while debugging fixes the cause of defects. This is not right. The cause of defects is often a human error or a deeper root cause. Testing does not normally find the cause of defects. Testing detects defects or failures. Debugging fixes defects. Root cause analysis is another idea, so C is out. Option D. Testing is a negative activity while debugging is a positive activity. This is not an ISTQB distinction. Some people may feel testing is negative because it finds problems, but that is the wrong mindset. Testing and debugging both help improve quality, so D is out. The correct answer is A. Testing determines that defects exist while debugging removes defects. Here is the exam rule. Testing discovers or reveals problems. Debugging analyzes and removes the defect. Do not choose answers that say debugging fixes failures. The defect is what gets fixed. That's it for this set of questions. As I said, the main goal here was not just to collect the correct answers, but understand the logic behind them and build a stronger testing mindset. You can find more practice questions for this topic on ISTQB.com using the link below. And if this walkthrough was useful, like and subscribe for more practical ISTQB question reviews. See you in the next one. Bye!